My wedding was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. Celebrating with family, showers, finding that perfect wedding dress was supposed to be the moment that I had dreamt of since I was a child playing with my Barbie dolls. And I remember back to that day thinking how sad I felt because I wasn't enjoying the moment, how miserable I felt in my body, and how unrelated I felt to the experience. I couldn't wait for it to be over. I should have been enjoying that moment and, having that bridal moment, dancing around in the dress that I was going to wear on my wedding day. And the only thing I felt was just pure sadness because I knew something wasn't right.
Well, certainly one of life's happiest moments, and to not be caught up in the fun. Let's hear from Gabby Doria as to exactly what was going on. Hi, Gabby. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. So what was going on?
Yeah, so back in 2014, I had a terrible bout of food poisoning, and it kind of started a downhill slope after that. I had went to 12 different doctors to try to figure out what was going on with me. I saw a cardiologist, a neurologist, and none of them were listening to my symptoms, and it was all gut related. I was completely healthy before I had this bout of food poisoning, and that just changed everything for my body.
And what kinds of problems were you having, so we can understand?
Yeah, I was having really bad constipation. I had lost 25 pounds. I mean, I was down to 87 pounds. I'm normally about 105, and the doctors just weren't listening to my symptoms. And they kept telling me that it was all in my head and I was just anxious, and I was absolutely anxious because no one was telling me what was wrong with me.
Right, you lost all this weight.
I lost all this weight, and it was scary, I mean, I was a completely healthy person, and then all of a sudden, after one, order of chicken taquitos, I got sick, and it changed everything.
Well, and were you depressed too at that time, huh?
Yeah, I mean, once you lose all that weight, your body changes, and just mentally, I wasn't myself. I didn't like doing the things that I used to do. The anxiety that I had took over my body. I mean, I didn't drive my car for 6 months because I was just terrified to be by myself. I mean, it was awful.
And this had never happened before?
No, never happened before.
You were completely healthy?
Yes, I was completely healthy. I was about 27 at the time this all happened. And I think that was the scariest part because beforehand, I was fine, and then all of a sudden, things just started slowly going downhill. The fatigue set in, the gut issues set in. I couldn't digest any food. It just steadily got worse, and everything the doctors were telling me was, your results all look fine, but I wasn't fine. So, it was just a piece that they were missing. It was just like they were ignoring my symptoms.
And what she's talking about is so common.
Yeah.
There's so many people, I mean, maybe not as much weight loss, obviously, but people being fatigued, having, brain fog, having depression, anxiety, and people don't put it together.
Right.
You go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, they treat the depression.
Yes.
You go to a gastroenterologist or a gut doctor, they say, well, here's something for your constipation.
Yes.
And it goes on and on, compartmentalized, meaning that they just treat little pieces of it.
Right.
So it's just a Band-Aid instead of going the root cause. So how did it finally come to a head? What did you find out?
For sure. So I made a promise to myself during this journey, even though I was at the lowest point I've ever been in my life, that I wasn't going to give up until I found someone who listened to me.
Okay.
And I finally found a doctor who did extensive blood tests, and she did a stool sample, and she did a SIBO test as well. And so that's when it uncovered that I had thyroid issues, that in turn was autoimmune. I had Hashimoto's. I also had SIBO and Candida overgrowth as well. So all of that combined explained everything that I was going through, and explained why I would have had those, depression and anxiety as well as everything else.
And SIBO is, just so you guys know what's going on, it's small bowel overgrowth of bacteria. So you got all this bad stuff growing in your small intestine. And so what happens is that when your gut doesn't have the right microbiome, or it's the right gut bacteria and the flora, it communicates with the rest of your body. So especially for the brain, it produces 90% of the serotonin.
Yes.
And there are nerves that connect from the brain to the gut. The gut cells actually connect and talk to every cell in the body. The most complex immune system.
Yes.
It's called the second brain. So when your gut is not right, like hers wasn't, everything goes right. So then what did you do? By the way, she's been eating healthy her whole life and done everything right. So this is such a shock. So what did you do to correct it?
Yeah, I mean, I had to remind myself that it took, it was about 1.5 years before they told me what was wrong. So I was sick for 1.5 years. So I had to give myself time to heal. So I changed my diet completely. I went gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. I approached it on more of a plant-based diet. I made sure I wasn't eating any processed foods. I was adding ginger and sauerkraut and coconut kefir, and everything that I put in my body, I made sure that it was healing my gut as well, you know, with L-glutamine, and that was the most important thing to me, was making sure that I was eating things that healed my body and didn't take me in the other direction.
And so how long did it take before you started feeling a little bit better?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it took a little bit of time, but I feel so great now that it was worth it. You know, it was such a hard experience, but I mean, it was worth it.
And here's the thing, there are trillions of bacteria in your gut, right? So you guys are watching. And so it takes a little while to replace those with the good bacteria. There's so many organisms. To get the right mix takes a little while. And then when you take the foods that she's talking about, she's taking probiotics, so they're good bacteria, but she's also taking prebiotics, which are the foods that make them grow. So the combination really makes you flourish. So awesome. 5 years now, at least, and you haven't had any recurrences, have you?
No.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great job. And thank you for sharing the story with us. I know it was really tough, but you can help a lot of people by people listening to you and say, this is me, and they can also find the solution for them. So
absolutely
awesome. Stay with us. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Partha Nandi, and if you enjoyed that video, you're going to love the next one. It's full of incredible information to help you start your health hero journey.